Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Ellsworth, and we're going to just hop right into this and get going here so that you can wash your desks at the end of the period still. Okay, so a withdraw means that you're taking money out of the bank account, so we're going to subtract money out of it, so it's just a minus 25. Notice how I do not put any units in the answer because this is just asking for an integer. No units. Okay, a deposit of $10, so that's going to be adding money to your account. There you go. 22 degrees below 0, so it just means it's a negative 22. Burr. Okay, descending. Descending means going down. Ascending, with an A right here, means going up. So descending is going down, which is a negative 4. Okay, absolute value is how far it is from 0. So negative 5 is 5 units from 0. 23, lots of people would want to put on both of these two. They'd want to have the opposite here. Don't fall for that. It's the distance from 0 to 23, which is 23. The distance from 0 to 23 is 23. Okay, so negative 3, the absolute value of that is going to be 3. Bring down that minus, and then the absolute value of 2 is just 2. So our answer here is 1. Okay, now we have to do everything inside of the absolute value bars. Negative plus negative makes a bigger negative, so it's the absolute value of negative 5. And so our answer will be 5. This one we got to do a little more work. We got to do our multiplication first. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS. Okay, so let me write this here. Minus, this right here is going to equal a negative 12. 2 times negative 6 is a negative 12. Okay. I'm going to still take the absolute value of that, but let's still keep on doing everything inside of here. And I'm going to show you that I'm going to add. The opposite of negative is a positive, so add the opposite. And so negative 3 plus 12 is going to be a 9. And so we'll take the absolute value of that, and that will be 9. Hope you did well on that. Lots of steps in that. Okay, negative 3 is the smallest, so this is going to be greater than. Negative 5 is the smallest. I mean, if you're thinking about your number line, if you need to write it out on the test tomorrow, go right ahead. Here's a negative 5, here's a 1, and here's a 1 again, and here's a 5. Okay, that's negative 1, sorry. Okay, so negative 5 would definitely be the smallest. Okay, so negative 1 is greater than negative 5. 1, you know, is less than 5, so there we go. Okay, we got to just go and take the difference of these two, which is going to be 4. Then make sure that you take the sign of the largest, and there's a lot more negatives than there is positives. Okay, in this one there's again more negatives than there is positives, and then you take the difference of those two, so you get a 6. Negative 15 plus a negative 15, take a negative, add it to another negative, you get a bigger negative, right? So that equals negative 30. Okay, notice that this right here is the adding inverse property right here, where you got a positive plus a negative of the same exact value, so that should equal 0, right? Plus 5, so that's going to equal just 5. Okay, Justin played shuffleboard, and his scores were this. Okay, we got a whole bunch of negatives here, I see, and a positive. What is the sum of his scores? Well, I always like to add up all my positive, which is just going to be positive 500, then plus all of his negatives. So this would be negative 150, negative 200, negative 225. Okay, negative 225. So our answer there will be a positive because we got more positives than we do negatives. So it's going to be a positive 275. Okay, you could put a positive on there if you want to. Oh, we probably better put points there because of the word problem also. Okay. Mrs. Ellsworth is playing pinochle with a score of 52. The next hand she has to go back. That's a negative thing. Go back 75 points. What is her score? Write an addition expression for this problem here. So we'll take 52, which is positive, and we will, and it's addition, so we can't write just minus. Can't write minus or subtract 75. We've got to write plus. That's a negative 75 points. Okay, so let's see, that would be 23. Okay, solve it. Okay, I should have wrote simplify, right? Anyway, so this being negative, because there's more negatives than there is positives, and then 23. Okay, Now in these ones, I have it just like this on the test. In fact, this review is so much like the test, except I have less problems on the test. Anyway, so we've got -2 minus a +5, and we're supposed to go and change it to an addition expression. And so we're going to add the opposite, and the opposite of a positive is a negative. So we'll rewrite it as -2 plus a -5. Okay, and when you add a negative to negative, you get a bigger negative, right? Okay, and we're going to add the opposite again here, so it's add, and then the opposite of a -5 is a +5, so this is really -2. It's kind of like a cleanup step here, isn't it? Plus a +5, so we can just write +5. So, these are opposite signs, so you take the difference, which is 3, and what's the sign of the biggest? Positive, so it's just a +3. Add the opposite, so you would rewrite that as 2 plus 1 or plus a +1. It doesn't matter for these two right here. Okay, so the answer to this is 3. Okay, these ones are all multiplication division, so you count those number of negatives. So this one right here is going to have a negative answer because there's just one, an odd number of negatives means the answer is negative. There's just one here, so it will be negative. Hey, there's 2 here, so it'll be positive. Okay, just talking about the number of negatives real quick. Let's go ahead and look at the problems. 35 divided by 5 is just 7. So there's a -7, 1 negative, 1 negative again. Hey, it didn't matter if it was on the front or the back, did it? Okay, so it's just going to be -7. 35 divided by 5 is 7 again, but there's 2 negatives, so that makes it positive. How many negatives here? 1, so our answer will be negative. It's an odd number. And then 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay, we've got a negative again because there's just one negative in our problem here. And then 4 times 20 is going to be 80. 1 negative, our answer will be negative again. 4 times 5 is 20. 2 negatives, so it's going to make a positive. Okay, and positive 20. Okay. Simplifying, okay, and so I notice these are all negatives, so you add a negative to another negative and so on, you just get a bigger negative. So we've got a -5 plus a -14. Okay, I'm doing some teacher thinking right here. And so we're getting -19. There we go. Okay, now multiplication. In fact, this brings me to another point here too. If you would have seen this problem, thought, oh, this is 4 minus 20. No. Okay, if it was 4 minus 20, first of all, it would be written like this, right? Or it could have been written like that, maybe. You would not have the parenthesis right there, so it is not, it is multiplying, these two are. And so let's go ahead and look at the next page here. So we're not subtracting 6, we're multiplying 3 times 2 times a -6. So 3 times 2 is 6 times a -6, that makes it -36. You can also see here that you've got one negative odd number, so your answer will be negative. Okay, this is kind of fun. So you got -2 times a -2. Okay, and so 2 negatives multiplied together gives you a positive 4. This one, you got the same thing going on, but a little bit more. You got 3 of them. Okay, so now I've got an odd number of negatives, so that makes my answer negative. And 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 more is 8. Okay. Okay, in this case right here, we've got a -2 times a -3 times 4. We've got 2 negatives, so that makes our answer positive. So 6 times 4 is going to be 24. And again, it's positive because there are 2 negatives. Okay, so y is going to be -3. Z is 4. And then it's all over in -2. Okay, so it's a -12 on top, all over -2 on the bottom. See, I've got 2 negatives. 2 negatives, that means my answer is going to be positive. Okay? Oh, this was kind of fun. A negative, and then x is going to be a -2. Before we do this one, let's look at this one right here too. Okay, x is going to be -2 minus, and then y is a -3. Okay, what do? We add the opposite of this. So our answer is going to be 1. Did you see what we did? Add the opposite. You can always change two signs next to each other, never one. So this is really just going to equal 2. Okay, and simplify means to convert your answer down to the simplest terms. So it means to, you guys would ask me, do I solve this? And I'd say, yeah, solve it. Okay, because in an expression like these, you don't really solve it. When it's got equal sign in the expression, like 3/2 equals y, that's when you solve it. An expression, they ask you to simplify it. And I just wanted to remind you what that means. It means to make the answer oops, that's an R there, into the most simplest form. And you guys would think that means solve it. But this is the definition of it, and that's because these are expressions. They want you to go in and do the functions to get into the simplest form. Do the functions to get into the simplest form. Okay, well, good luck on your test tomorrow. That will be a paper test for those of you distance learning. It will be a computerized one and sent to you online. And I'm wishing you the best and do your very best, even though I'm not there. If you have any questions, don't forget to let me know later on, and I will be correcting this Monday night. See you Monday. Bye-bye.